Okay, Jan, Marie, and Vanessa, here's how you're going to want to do a comp on their property when you're logged into the MRIS system. Okay, you're going to look at the listing number. You're going to see how many photos that the house has. Just kind of go through the photos and get an idea of um, the condition of the home. Look at the yard. Look at the windows. Look at the roof. Um, this right here is your boundary line for your neighbors. So this property here belongs to your neighbors, and this property on this side is your property. So, okay, so normally what we do is we take everything out with the old, all of the floors, the appliances, and then the cabinets, and then redo everything. So this whole kitchen would be all, we would throw everything away in here. Okay, we would keep this. This is nice. So you look at the walls. It's got a nice fireplace. It's got a mantle, hardwood floors. It's got air conditioning unit. Whenever you see vent covers like this, there's some sort of air conditioning unit. Okay. A little dining room section here. Small. It's not wide. It's long, but not wide. So, but the house looks like it's in good condition overall. It's got ceramic tile on the floor. So we would um, update the bathrooms. This is the attic area on the top. Steps going down to the basement. And here's the basement area. This basement area has a furnace. It's got your water heater. And this is gas. You could tell because it's got the gas pipe right here. Okay, and then you got your washing machine dryer. Here's your ductwork that feeds the house for the air conditioning. Okay, and then this basement is not finished. The joists are still open and exposed. So here's the bottom of the steps when you come down. Okay, so it needs drywall to finish the basement, but it has potential. And the next thing we do is, let me just go back to the beginning. So the next thing I do is I come in here where it says neighborhood photos to get an idea of what the neighborhood looks like. And then you could grab this and make it wide. But so this gives you an idea. So we know that the current property is 7107 Foster Street. Foster Street. Okay, so when we're looking at the the properties here, you could grab this and move it to the side. Oh wait, shit. Let me go back. Okay. When we're looking at these properties, looking at the address, so this property is like on the same street. This is the neighborhood, so you could tell everything's on the same street. So the neighborhood looks like they're all the same, and it gives you an idea. Here's an active home for 200,000. Here's an active home for 217,000. You could tell this home here has been renovated. They've added some bushes and some landscaping here. They've painted the house. The roof looks new. The windows look nice and sharp and bright and clean. So this house looks like it's been renovated. This home right here is as is condition. So this one probably needs something, a new kitchens and bathrooms and things like that. Whereas this one is pretty much done. And a lot of times you can see, like for example, here's 6413. It's active for sale. Sometimes if you scroll down here's 64. Same house. Here's when they bought it. They bought it for $87,000 on June the 18th, 2010. This house is the same as this house. So this is the same property. Now they're selling it for $217. Okay, so a lot of times if you look in the in this area, it'll give you an idea of what things are selling for. May 2011. Here's one sold for $80,000. Here's December 10th, sold for $68,000. This house sold for almost 217. Okay, so they'll tell you where the highest. This is the highest price home for this area right now in the last 6 months to 12 months. Okay, so when somebody says, "Hey, I have a deal for you," you want to look at what they're talking about, and then say, "Hey, 129,000 is not a deal because things are selling for 70, 80,000." And then what we do is we click on this property history, and then this tells us information about the property, the history. So this thing's been listed for 129. It started listed date June the 10th. So the price hasn't changed as of yet. Okay, and then what we do is we look at the year it was built, 1948. Okay, it's a 4-bedroom, 2 bathrooms. It's 3 levels. And then here's the subdivision. It's District Heights, Maryland. It's a Cape Cod. Okay, and then we come down, we read the remarks in here, and then we look at the basement. So this has a basement, but it's unfinished. So if the basement is not finished, then that means we have to add money to finish it. But we would want basements that are finished. Okay, remarks. Just read the remarks here real quick. Gives you an idea of the house. And then parking. If it says street parking, we would prefer a garage, or we would prefer a long driveway. Then you want to look at utilities, and you want to look at to see if it has central air conditioning. If it says radiators or window units, and it doesn't say central air conditioning, then we have to add at least $6,000 for an air conditioning unit to be installed into a house. Okay. Then we look at the tax assessment. In 2011, this year, the current year, the government has assessed the property to be valued at $188,260,000. And so what they do is they give the land a value of $60,000. Then the house that sits on the land, 128. So they take this number plus that number, and they arrive at this number here. Okay. So this also tells you how big the living area space is. So this has a 1,224 square foot home, and usually they only count the upstairs. So if it has a basement, it's got the top level, so they'll count the top level, but not necessarily the basement. So if you finish the basement, then you could possibly gain another 1,000 square feet in the basement as well, and make this house into a 2,200 square feet home. Okay, so and then we come down here, we see how long the property's been sitting on the market. So sometimes this section here may have a number of like 110, 120, 90 days, 300 days. And then this section here has a number like 10 days, 5 days, 30 days, 40 days. But you always want to look at this to see what the total amount of days that this house has been sitting around for. Okay, days on the market, DOM, days on the market. That's what it stands for. Then you want to see here the status change. When was the last time they changed the status of this particular listing? Well, as of July the 12th, 2011, the price has been same. So if they've changed the status, you'll see where the original price has been dropped. But in this case, it hasn't. So now when we're doing a CMA on this property, you want to go ahead and click on the subdivision. You want to click on the District Heights, copy, and then you want to open up a new window. Okay, in this case I had one open already. This is not the one I want. Okay. Okay, here. And then you put in the subdivision, legal description, subdivision, same thing. Take this out. And make sure you pull this down and hit yes for sale. And then here you want to put in 180 days plus. Anything that has a contract on it, or anything that's active, or anything that has sold in the last 6 months in this neighborhood here. Okay. So what I do is I pick them all because I want to see everything that's sold. Okay. And then if it says basement, yes or no, just leave it blank. And you could take this out, you could leave this blank. It'll pull up everything in that neighborhood. And then down here, we could take all that out. And then hit search. So we got a total of 68 properties that came up. So here's the status that tells you everything that's active and everything that has a contract on it and everything that has sold. Okay, so what you do is you click on this little button right here and it puts everything in order. Okay, so right now we can see we got right now, and then you can click on this here and this will tell you the lowest price home that has sold in this subdivision, and it's sold for $40,000. And then you can click on this again, then it'll flip it. The highest price is $239,900, and there's a contract on it now. And then there's an active property for $234,950. Okay, and there's one that's sold for $220, one sold for $219, and so forth. So we know that this property here, this neighborhood, is going to be somewhere between, somewhere between 215 to 239. It looks like. Now it depends on the renovation. Okay, so for example, when you see a lot of photos, like here's 29 photos, here's 15. So these properties are most likely renovated. So what I do is click on them, and I just run through the pictures. Okay, it looks like they got a new deck, new ceiling fans. So this property, they got the granite, the nice cabinet, the stainless steel. So this property has already been renovated. Recessed lights. Wait a minute. What is this? But it's renovated, but it's not like one of our renovations. Looks like they were still doing some work on the property when they took these pictures. Okay, so then we could come down here and see how long this property has been sitting. It's been on the market for 393 days. Total of 300. That's and they got a contract for 239. The last change was June the 13th. They originally were asking 275. Then they dropped the price to 260, and then the last price was 239. So yeah, this property is, here's a tax assessment value. So that's a renovated property. We don't know exactly how much they got it for because it's still under contract. So then you look at the next sold one. So here's one that's active for 234. Let's check this one out. So it's also renovated. That's a nice renovation. Nice bathrooms. Nice steps. Fireplace in the basement. Recessed lights, carpet. Okay. So this is Home Depot cabinets. So this one here has been on the market for 22 days. 234. They haven't made any adjustments. So we know that we could probably get around 234 in this area. Then if you come back here, come back, hit that button, and then you can look at your, you got one that sold for 220. It sold in 7 days. And they gave, the seller gave $5,732 to the buyer for help. And they settled on August the 15th, just earlier this week. And so here's the renovation. They got a deck. They staged it. They put furniture in the property. They staged it. Okay, it's the same style home, but it looks so much different from the last one because of the fact it's been staged. Remember, they had the fireplace and everything in the last two houses, the same hardwood floors, same size, but the staging makes a huge difference. Okay, so they ran the little island this way. Put the sink here, okay, next to the window. That's a tiny sink though. Now what you want to do is you want to click on the property history. You can tell how much they bought it for and when they bought it. So here it'll be, okay, sold. It was sold in 2003 for 165, 2011. So they bought it for 81,000. Okay, and then now they have it on the market for 220. And they bought it in February 2011. Okay. So this gives, so that's how you do a comp. Just kind of look at the neighborhood, look at, see what's active, what is the highest, and then what is the slowest, and look at your competition. Look at the ones with the pictures. Here's one for 219. Let's see, we do a little bit extra. None of these homes that I've seen have crown molding, have chair rail molding, have window blinds in the windows, even knobs on the cabinets, backsplash. We do a lot of different things, so therefore our product could demand a higher value. Okay. So, but that's how you do CMAs. Look at the, you want to look at the subdivision. You want to look at the days on the market. You want to see, you know, the bedroom sizes. You got the full bathroom and half bathrooms, and how many levels? 3 levels, 2 levels, 2 levels. You know how this 2-level home, 3-level home, 3-level home, and fireplace has 1 fireplace, 2 fireplace, 1 fireplace, and car garage. None of these homes have a garage. This has two space garage. The basement, they all have basements. This one does not have a basement, and so forth. And that's how you want to do your CMAs.